I think that a key constituency for Joe Biden is people who just enjoy life. You know, these are Joe Biden's
They
core
don't walk
supporters.
around bitter. Yeah, they're not angry. They're
Not
not
upset.
like looking for some violation of their rights or whatever. You know,
Violation of the patriotic correctness. You know, nobody offended them. There wasn't a trans person giving them coffee this morning. They're not upset about that. Anyway, we'll get into all that. I want to start. I meant to get to this yesterday and forgot. And you're the person to talk to it about. A couple congressmen, a couple Mikes, a couple of your former colleagues, Mike McCall and Mike Turner, current Republicans. Maybe they're on their way out like you. Who knows? We'll see. They both indicated over the weekend that they think some of their colleagues have become susceptible to Russian propaganda and are advancing it. Let's just take a listen real quick.
Let's turn to Ukraine, an issue that's important to you and your fellow Republican chairman, Michael McCall, who runs the Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman McCall made a comment this week about what he says sounds like Russian propaganda from some conservative media, and why it's so difficult to explain to Republican voters why supporting Ukraine is important. He told Julia Yaffe, quote, "I think Russian propaganda has made its way into the United States, unfortunately, and it's infected a good chunk of my party's base." He singled out primetime shows on conservative channels. Do you agree with him, and how big is this problem?
Oh, it is absolutely true. We see directly coming from Russia attempts to mask communications that are anti-Ukraine and
just two
pro-Russian
Republican
messages, some of which we
congressmen
even hear being uttered on
saying that you think this would be front page news. Like you have two Republican congressmen saying my party infected with Russian propaganda. Anyway, what's your take on all that?
Well, I mean, let's look in a different world. If this has just been like a non-enemy France, right? If they're like, yeah, French propaganda, government of France, people would be outraged. This is Russia. This isn't just some country that we're agnostic about. This is one of our enemies. Look, they're both right. I mean, obviously, they're both right, and I think it shouldn't come as a surprise, But here's what really kind of drives me nuts about that, Tim. Yes, they're both right. They're also both going along with the Russian propaganda in the party.
Yes.
It's saying, yes, okay, Tim, I'm going to come in front of you because you have an audience that'll react well to this, which is what he did on CNN. Yes, Russian propaganda is infecting, and people are going to praise me for saying that. But then he goes back today, both of these mics will go back today to Washington, D.C., and not pull the trigger on forcing this bill to the floor. Now, maybe they will eventually, but it's been 6 months of them listening to Russian propaganda. And these aren't just two rank and file Republicans. These are the two Republicans that are head of the most powerful committees dealing with this issue, Foreign Affairs and Intel. And yet they'll go on CNN and say it. And again, I don't want to discourage that. So I'm not sitting here just crapping all over, but it's like, at the same time, you two alone. Yeah, you go to Newsmax, go to Fox, put out a tweet. You two alone, without anybody else with you, can guarantee that the aid bill gets on the floor. And yet again, it's this go to the correct, news outlet where you can say the things because nobody on your Fox outlet's going to be watching CNN, and then just go quiet and let Marjorie Taylor Greene run the day. That's what drives me nuts, because this is not an esoteric, this isn't just an exercise in what are our tax rates going to be? Right. Is it, are the trains going to run on time? This is human life. It just drives me nuts.